What? There we go. Don't worry, Lion. I won't let you get my bad ending. So don't hide from me. Why are you hiding from me? I won't hurt you. So don't be scared. Don't you realize that we're meant to be together? I love you. I love you so much.
What? Why? Why? I don't know if I appreciate being jump scared by hot anime men.
Rainbow bandages, a red tunnel, blue eyes. That's all I can seem to recall from my dream as the blaring buzz 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 of my alarm pulls me from my slumber. Almost groggily, I reach for my phone to turn it off and flop back into my bed. Curious, I glance at the screen to check the time, only to get blinded by the brightness of my wallpaper. Ugh. Wincing at the bright light that practically flashbangs me, I crack open one eye to read the numbers on the screen. 9:05 a.m. So it wasn't too early then. I still had plenty of time to get ready for the day and possibly make some waffles for breakfast. The batter would expire soon anyway, and I didn't really feel like visiting the bakery this morning. With that plan in mind, I let out a sleepy groan and roll out of bed. Muscle memory kicks in, and my immediate reaction is to open the blinds for some much-needed sunshine. But when I glance at my windows, they were already pulled back. Sunlight had been pouring into my room for who knows how long, and I didn't even notice. When did I open them? Did Ren open them? And wait, did he leave? I knew firsthand that he liked to wake up early, yet even after straining my ears, I couldn't hear him rattling about in my lounge room. Admittedly, I thought Ren would have wanted to stay the night after we... The heat rushes to my face as I recall what we did last night. No, it wouldn't do me any good to think about that first thing in the morning. I could always text Ren later, after all. It was still early, and I didn't want to seem clingy. Would he even think I'm being clingy? Ugh, this was not what I needed to start my day with. Deciding not to dwell on it for now, I stand up and gradually work out the kinks in my body. No way was I going to let this ruin the outing I had planned with Tio, Eleanor, and Leon. Oh yeah, almost forgot. We were supposed to go to the aquarium today. That was literally yesterday! You made the plan yesterday! How did you forget? Well, then again, I tend to forget everything I have planned. With that in mind, I make a mental note to dress appropriately as I walk over to my closet. Absent-mindedly, I run my fingers across some of my clothes before pulling something comfy from the rack. My usual style has never let me down before, so I decide to stick with the theme and wear something similar. I pick out a few more matching pieces and accessories before giving them all a cursory glance. Feeling satisfied with the items I chose, I nod in approval before heading to the bathroom to change. I doubt the hot water would work this early in the morning, so having a nice, refreshing shower was definitely out of the question. Well, not that it really mattered. I still needed to buy some more shampoo anyway, and... Oh? Strange. Was my toothbrush holder always this solid black color? Could have sworn it was gray. Picking it up from the shelf, I give it a once-over. The Haruko print was still there, yet it somehow felt heavier in my hands. But then again, I don't exactly go around meticulously measuring how heavy my items are in the first place. Jeez, today was seriously a day of overthinking, huh? Well, whatever. Putting the holder back on the shelf, I focused my attention back on the reflection of myself in the mirror, and gave an appreciative nod. The outfit I chose looked perfect, and once I put everything on, all I'd have to do left is decide how I should style my hair. What should I do? How will you respond? But why would I need to Okay, let's see. My hair is short, my hair is mid-length, my hair is long, I don't have hair. I think my hair is pretty mid-length. Straight, wavy, curly, coily, braided, or locks. My hair is nothing like me, it's very straight. An idea comes to mind and I immediately set to work. An hour flies by and I somehow manage to get dressed, style my hair, and finish breakfast in record time. With nothing left to do, I decide I might as well kill time in my entryway by picking out which shoes to wear. But just as I stop in front of the shoe rack, something near the front door catches my eye. A letter? Odd. My door doesn't have a letterbox, so I usually have to visit the front desk to collect my mail. That is, if Violet doesn't bring it up for me. So, what was this doing here? Curiosity gets the better of me, and I find myself scooping up the letter and opening it. Inside was nothing more than a folded note written in red ink and... Was that a lock of light blonde hair? Wait, what the? Did this belong to Eleanor? A chill runs down my spine once I realize what exactly this item is, and I hesitantly scan the rest of the note for answers. It simply read, I think she might need a new lock as well, don't you think? Don't bother warning her about this. I'll know. Let's keep this between us, alright? It'll be our little secret.
What the hell? Was this somehow tied to that a-hole who broke into my apartment a few days ago?
Or was it someone else entirely?
So admittedly, whoever this stalker was, they were honestly doing a pretty bad job at making their intentions clear. I mean, what exactly were they trying to accomplish by doing this? Did they want me to stay away from Eleanor as well, or just keep silent? What did they get out of blackmailing me like this? And why target Eleanor specifically? None of this made any sense.
And now that I give it more thought, I still wasn't sure what they wanted from me either. Why go through all this trouble in the first place? It wasn't like I was doing anything wrong. Maybe moving back to the Bay wasn't a good idea after all. I mean, I left the hardships and turmoil of the city behind for a reason. I wanted fresh air, new faces, and a more easygoing lifestyle. Things I'd never get in the city. And now it seems like history is only repeating itself once more. I thought I could live a peaceful life here with my new job and friends, and now I somehow found myself in more trouble than I could ever ask for. And what's worse is that, after denying my own paranoia for so long, this was all it took to convince me that my potential intruder really was real after all. God damn it. Maybe Violet was right. I remember brushing off her concerns because the idea of a stalker seemed so far-fetched to me, especially given Corlin Bay's innocuous reputation. But now... Admittedly, a big part of me wanted to see if Violet was still home, but another part of me kept me rooted in place. Would it be safe? What if the intruder was still lurking outside? Ah! Suddenly my phone goes off and scares the living daylights out of me. So much so that I end up dropping it on the hardwood floor and clambering to pick it back up in a panic. God damn it! With shaking hands, I forgo looking for any dents and cracks in the screen as I try to discern the reason for the noise instead. The letter T shows up where the caller ID should be, alongside a suggestive contact photo of someone's abs that I don't remember taking, which could only mean one thing. Tio was calling. It takes a few failed attempts, but I somehow managed to press the answer button and respond with a shaky tone. Hello? Well, damn, doll. You sound like you just woke up. Not planning on sleeping in, are you? What? No, why? Good, because I'm right outside your apartment right now. Your neighborhood looks like shit, by the way. Smells like it, too. Did you seriously call me just to make fun of where I live? I called you to tell you to hurry up, unless you want to walk to the aquarium. In fact, maybe I should just... damn it. Well. If it isn't Miss Priss all by her lonesome. Whoops, she looks mad. Tio's voice practically oozes smugness as he taunts whoever it is he's talking to, most likely Violet, before I hear him adjust the phone and continue speaking. Oi, dollface, hurry up, won't you? He hangs up before I can mutter out a response. But still, knowing that Tio was downstairs somehow gives me the confidence to leave the safety of my home, though not before committing the state of my apartment to memory and triple-checking my lock. I have half a mind to quickly snap some photos of everything to see if anything was touched in my absence, but I doubt I'd still have enough time. Still, if my stalker does decide to come back again, I'd want to know. But now that I'm thinking about photos, this gives me the perfect opportunity to splurge on some security cameras. I've been needing them for quite some time now anyway. With all this talk of violent crimes, dead bodies, and murders happening on the news lately, and now this intruder, I figure it'd be better to be safe than sorry. So deciding to let Tio suffer, even just a little bit, at the hands of Violet,
I pull out my phone to scroll through some home security bundles on sale as I make my way towards the lobby. Tio ended up being uncharacteristically quiet throughout the drive, and if I were being honest, I appreciated the silence. It was definitely odd not having our typical playful banter, but it also wasn't something I needed first thing in the morning. He also doesn't seem in the mood to be disturbed, given how he clenched the wheel with one hand while the other supports his head against a window ledge like some angsty teen. So I tried to settle further into the admittedly comfy seat of his luxury car and focus my attention on the scenery as it passes by. It isn't long before the aquarium comes into view as Tio looks around for a decent place to park. We must have picked a busy day to visit considering the amount of cars parked both outside and in the reserved parking area, so Tio seemed to have somewhere in mind. I watch as he drives straight past a very clearly labeled no-go zone and pulls up into one of the empty spaces without so much as a reaction. He doesn't even wait for me to get out before he opens his door and walks to the front of his car. Not wanting to be left behind, I quickly follow suit. Tio? I was about to question whether he was allowed to park in the employee zone in the first place, but given how he shamelessly pulls down one of the warning signs and tosses it into a bush, I figured that was my answer. It doesn't take long before he's right by my side once more and ushers me towards the front entrance. I almost stumble over my feet as Tio pulls me along, but not before almost bowling him over as he abruptly stops in front of me. Look at that. Almost like a loyal dog, ain't he? Glancing in the direction he was pointing, I see Leon sitting on one of the benches as he absentmindedly watches people go by. Also, I did not give you permission to grab me like that, you piece of... I'm not gonna go any further with that. And once he catches sight of us, he immediately leaps to his feet and rushes over with a wave and a warm smile. It's a good thing it doesn't bite. At that snarky comment, I nudged Tio with my elbow and sent him an eye roll. I doubt he takes any notice of it, though, since Leon's arrival takes up all of our attention. Hey yo, you look good, Sunfish. You're not too bad yourself, Oarfish. Hello, I'm here too. Eleanor still hasn't arrived yet? Scoffing at our playful dismissal, Tio cracks a joint in his neck and crosses his tattooed arms. However, he doesn't seem to stray from his spot, which meant that he still had an interest in our conversation. At his almost childlike reaction, Leon shoots his friend a cheeky, lopsided smile before continuing. Yeah, I'm sure he's on her way. She did say something about wanting to get her steps in our group chat. Is that why she didn't want Tio picking her up? And actually, I don't know if you realize, but you guys were 15 minutes early. Really? No thanks to Tio speeding, I guess. What about you? I'm guessing you had to walk all the way here, right? Nothing wrong with getting a bit of exercise in the morning. I'm sure Eleanor would agree. And I just got here, actually. Really? Because it looks like you were just sitting on the bench for a while. I just sat down. Long enough to stretch your legs, huh? Okay, so maybe I arrived half an hour early. But I was excited. It's been a while since I've been to the aquarium. Even longer since you've seen Dollface over here, I bet. Huh? Can you blame me? We've been separated for years. Now we finally reunited again? Must be fate. No. Destiny. Guys, look, why are you both clamoring over me? I mean, yes, I know, I am absolutely irresistible, but stop! Stop! Playing along with Leon's dramatics, I lean against his side and clutch at the spot above my heart. It is written in the stars. You guys are genuinely embarrassing. Hearing Tio huff once more, Leo and I watch as he tries to distance himself by looking at the posters on the wall. No doubt feigning interest in it, it wasn't like Tio really cared much for marine life. All his world revolved around was wealth and luxury, giant tech companies, and probably starting fires. Yeah, definitely starting fires. So for a guy who spent most of his time in the shadow of his father's legacy, I had to hand it to him. Tio was seemingly more down to earth than other people I've met. He didn't have to spend time with us, but he did. And as much as he'd often joke about not wanting to affiliate himself with people outside his tax bracket, Tio sure seemed to like hanging out with Jay, Leon, and me. I wonder, does he ever feel lonely? Before my thoughts can delve any further, I feel a gentle nudge at my side. Looking to my left, I see Leon peering at me with a curious expression. You know, I'm really glad you came, but I'm also honestly surprised you agreed to this. Surprised? What do you mean? Well, you know, is Ren okay with this? Ren? The guy we met at the pier the other day. He said something about being your boyfriend. How will you respond? Alright, he is my boyfriend. Whether or not it was because I wanted to stake my claim over Ren, or because he confidently declared himself as my boyfriend a few days ago, I couldn't help but let it slip. But Leon seemed to pick up on the hesitance laced within my words, given how he inquisitively tilts his head and sends me a reassuring smile. Is this still a new thing for you? I'm sure calling someone your boyfriend must take some getting used to. Take things at your own pace. It was strange hearing this kind of advice from Leon, especially after practically lying to him, but I wasn't going to say anything. Wait, did I say that Ren wasn't my boyfriend before? I genuinely forgot whether I mentioned whether, Ren was my boyfriend or not. I have no idea at this point. It's been so long since the last update. We've been friends for so long, yet the topic of dating had never seemed to come up between us, much less something more extreme like settling down or getting married. At that, I recall a fond memory from my youth. A younger version of ourselves greets me as they innocently play a game of pretend on the playground. I can see Leon in all his boyish charms as he promises to marry me from atop the slide, before he slides down it and runs to my side in glee. He seems all too happy to run circles around me while he shouts to the skies about protecting me from bad guys, yet something else was missing from the scene. Something I couldn't fully remember. What was it? As long as he's chill with this, yeah? I wouldn't want any misunderstandings to happen. Great, I've been spacing out again. Not wanting to offend Leon with my silence, I tried to make sense of his words before coming up with a sufficient response of my own. Yeah, he's fine with it. Probably. Besides, I only agreed to this outing because Eleanor genuinely seemed like she wanted to go. And it's not like this is a date anyway, so... Hey, don't sweat it, Lion. No need to explain yourself either. I get what you're saying. I'm sure Leon cuts himself off when he notices something behind me, and when I turn around to look, I see Eleanor running up to the group with a flushed expression on her face. But as she draws near, she clumsily trips on a stray piece of cobble and tumbles forward. Ah! Without thinking, I lurched forward to close the gap between us, but Tio's muscular arms beat me to it. Almost effortlessly, he reaches out to catch her, almost like those cliché romantic movies, except not at all, because Tio was allergic to anything romantic. A fact that's emphasized by the look of pure disdain on his face as he pulls my coworker to her feet. Eleanor seems to be blissfully enjoying every moment of it, though, seeing as she practically clutches onto his biceps while looking up with wide, sparkling eyes. In fact, I doubt she was even aware of our presence with how she stays rooted in Tio's awkward embrace. Pretty sure she's having her otome moment. Let her have this! Just let her have this! Looks like she really fell for him, huh? God, you're as bad as Jay with those puns. He's rubbing off on me. Come on. Let's go see if she's okay. As it turns out, Eleanor really was okay, being cradled inside the arms of Tio. But the moment only lasts until Leon and I rejoin the group with a knowing smile on our faces. Tio aptly chooses not to say anything, and out of solidarity, or perhaps future blackmail, neither do we. And soon enough, we all found ourselves waiting in line to buy admission tickets. Eleanor happily takes photos of us, while Tio scrolls through his phone, and Leon stands beside me to look at all the colorful fish in the small tanks. This is all rather exciting, don't you think? Really? It's just fish. Oh, come on, mate. Show a little more enthusiasm, yeah? If you love him so much, wait till you find out what's at the beach. I want to apologize in advance for him. No, it's fine. I'm sure Tio has other interests that excite him. Fish just aren't particularly one of them. Want to know what makes me excited? Leon and I both share a look before rolling our eyes. breaking taillights and slashing tires.
Oh. Wait, slashing tires? Isn't that illegal?
Probably. I'm just messing with you, princess. Loosen up a little. All too quickly, the light-hearted mood gets replaced with something serious as Leon's phone starts buzzing. Recognition flashes across my childhood friend's face as he looks at the screen, before he awkwardly scratches the back of his neck and points towards the entrance with his thumb.
Sorry guys, give me a sec. Without waiting for a response, Leon makes a beeline for the front door. After a few seconds, I see his figure emerge from outside the large windows, pacing back and forth on the sidewalk as he talks to someone on the phone. Judging by the solemn expression on his face, I can only guess that the call isn't a good one.
I sure hope everything's alright.
Too caught up in Leon's shift in demeanor, I barely notice how Eleanor's hand gently pushes Tio and I forward, so they can speak to the clerk at the front desk. Broad, tattooed shoulders now block my view of the window, which causes me to shift my attention back to the present. But Tio doesn't seem to notice my lack of focus, or perhaps he just doesn't care, as he pulls out a black card from his wallet and leans over to hand it to the woman behind the counter. He could have gone without the nonchalant, smug look on his face, but I wasn't about to say anything when he was literally about to pay for my admission fee. But before I could begrudgingly thank him, Eleanor's excited voice cuts me off. Also, wait, who's manning the library at the moment? Are there, various other people working there as well? I'm just a little curious about that because both me and Eleanor are here. Who's at the library aside from our boss? Oh, do you suppose there will be shows today as well? I saw some advertised outside.
Oh yeah? I wasn't paying much attention to them.
I hope there'll be penguins. Perhaps Leon would enjoy them.
What about me?
You, I don't suppose you like sharks? I could hear the clerk chime in with information on the latest hotspots and what shows were playing, but I shut it all out when I noticed Leon standing idly near the doorway, still sporting that concerned look on his face. Without missing a beat, I make my way over to his side and spare an empathetic glance. I'm really sorry about all that, Lion, but something's come up involving my mom at the hospital. Oh no. Is everything okay? Yeah, nah. Mom's fine. It's just some important paperwork I need to fill out on her behalf. You know, since Dad is still working abroad and all. I'm so sorry, but I've really gotta go. I'll try to come back as soon as I'm... Hey, don't sweat it. Focus on your mother first. I don't miss the way his entire demeanor softens at my concern. Leon looks as though he wants to say something serious, but holds himself back at the very last second. As if to compensate, I end up filling the silence instead. I'm sure I can survive third-wheeling Tio and Eleanor's date alone. Jeez, I really owe you one. Actually, you know what? Here. Before I can refuse, Leon shoves a stack of small bills into my palm and closes his hands around it. Yeah, you don't have to. Besides, Tio already paid for everything just now. Yeah, I won't be hearing anything for you. If you won't accept it, then spend it all on something for me instead, yeah? Go to town in the souvenir shop. See if they have any sunfish merch in there. Alright, thank you, Leon. No worries, Darl, but I've really gotta go now, so I'll tell Mom you said hi. Leon turns on his heel before I have the chance to respond, so he completely misses me waving him off. In his rush, he almost knocks someone over, but he quickly helps them regain their footing and apologizes before speeding off once more. Man, sure hope everything is okay with his mom. But before I can dwell on it any longer, the sweet melody of Eleanor's laughter pulls me from my thoughts and I turn back towards the group. I noticed that Tio and Eleanor are now standing by the entrance, which also happened to double as a massive underwater tunnel, all while pointing to a school of fish swimming over their heads. When Eleanor notices my presence, she happily waves me over before her attention shifts towards the door behind me, no doubt expecting to see Leon walk back in and join us. It made sense considering how they missed his departure, but she snaps out of her curious daze the moment Tio brushes a hand against her back to move her out of the way of a family passing by. But what truly shocks me is that he doesn't seem to move his hand. Instead, Tio leaves it there as he steps closer and blocks my coworker from my view.
He meets my gaze with an intense, unreadable expression, and I can't help but look away.
What was that all about?
Suddenly, the moment felt too personal for my liking, almost as if I shouldn't be looking at something so intimate. Turning away, I decided to channel my interest into picking up a roadmap from the brochure stand instead. If Tio and Eleanor were planning on getting cozy with each other, I need to plan my escape route. But before I move away, I noticed a lone aquarium tank off to the side. It was far enough from the eyes of the people still waiting at the queue, but still close enough to the entrance to entice any passersby to come in and take a look. Inside were countless amounts of colorful fish, coral, and other sea crustaceans, and I couldn't help but look in awe of some of the bright marine life as they float about in the water. If only Leon could join us. I could almost hear his laughter at some of the sunfish-like creatures that swim by. Keeping the rest of the group in sight, I stray slightly to the right for a better vantage point. A group of neon tetrafish zip past, and my eyes follow them as they swim around. They easily stand out against the bright orange and green corals, and especially in the pink and blue. Wait, pink and blue?
Ren? Ren, what are you? Ren, what are you? Why are you, Ren? Hey, hello.
Peering closer to the glass, I catch a sight of a familiar face on the other side of the tank. Ren doesn't seem to notice me yet, seemingly far too entranced by the brightly colored creatures as they swim by. His soft eyes follow some of the smaller fish as they dart across the tank before swapping over to the group of guppies swimming past. Suddenly our eyes meet at the moment the fish split up, and I watch as Ren's expression morphs from surprise into a sickening sweet look. He tries to say something, but his words come out inaudible due to the glass separating us. As if realizing, Ren instead points to one of the fish off to the side before resting his hand on the glass and mouthing something else. I still can't fully understand what he was trying to say, that is, until my eyes land on what he was pointing at, catching me off guard. I watch in awe as a lone fish swims between us and captures both of our attention.
Wait, was that an angelfish?
The fond memory of our time at the pier comes to mind, and I find myself thinking back to when Ren affectionately gave me that nickname. And had I known any better, I would have assumed that he was thinking about the same thing, given the way his eyes crinkle and soften as the fish's scales shimmer underneath the artificial light. Too absorbed in how picturesque this all looked, I completely miss Ren's swift departure. That is, until he's rounding the corner of the fish tank and taking his place by my side.
Hi, Lion. Hey, you. Fancy meeting you here.
The first thing I notice is how Ren is tugging at his sleeves again, though he doesn't seem to shy away from my close proximity, nor does he seem to mind it as much. Those fish were pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't take my eyes off of them. Hey, did you spot the angelfish swimming by?
How will you respond? Yeah, I was busy looking at the sunfish. The clownfish, I did. It was so captivating. I was staring at the sharks. I did. It was captivating.
It was, huh? I couldn't stop looking as well.
Yeah, I didn't even know they could be that color.
Actually, this might sound cheesy, but after you mentioned the angelfish, it reminded me of our date by the pier, remember? How could I forget? It was one of my most treasured memories. Top 3, in fact.
Not wanting to let this opportunity pass, I decide to tease Ren a bit. Psh, oh please, top 3?
Don't laugh. If you get to be cheesy, why can't I?
Well, in that case, if you get to give me a cheesy nickname like Angelfish, why can't I?
Wait, you want to give me a nickname?
Come on, it's only fair. So to be honest, I don't really know any pink-colored fish. God damn it.
Oh yeah? Well, that's too bad.
Hey, don't think you can get away that easily, Buttercup. I'll think of something better. Eventually.
Eventually?
Eventually. At that, Ren lets out a puff of laughter before returning his attention to the tank once more. He doesn't seem to stray from my side though, and it's then that I realize, what was he doing at the aquarium in the first place?
It's a free country! He can be anywhere he wants, including my bathroom if he'd like, but you know what? That would be a little odd. But you know what? To each their own. To each their own. Without missing a beat, I take a step closer and voice my thoughts. You know, I wasn't expecting to run into you here. Oh, really? Yeah, no offense, but you don't really seem like an aquarium guy. Is that so? I didn't have any plans for today, so I figured I'd do a bit of under-the-sea sightseeing to pass the time. Plus, I finished a book you recommended the other week. The one about the underwater city. The other week? I thought this was day 4. I can clearly see day 4 up there. What do you mean the other week? I guess it inspired me to come here. Really? Did you like it? What did you think about it? I enjoyed it, especially the part where... Oh, say, look at that. Ren isn't shy about how he leans over my shoulder to point at something outside of my peripheral vision. I follow his finger, and between the driftwood and coral, I spot Eleanor and Tio standing awfully close together. I don't miss the way Tio sizes up Ren, even from a distance, before he tears his gaze away from us with an audible scoff. A surprised sound escapes the back of my throat as I watch Tio unabashedly run a hand down my co-worker's side. What truly shocks me is the way Eleanor boldly grabs his arm and loops her hand around it. No way. That's, Wow, I honestly didn't know she had it in her. And while her confidence shocked me, it also sparked a bout of curiosity inside me as well. Even though we all established that this wasn't an actual date, Eleanor still wanted to treat it like one? But now that I really think about it, isn't this similar to the date I shared with Ren at the pier as well? The next thing I know, I find my mind wandering to all the times I held Ren's hand as he walked along the boardwalk. And right now, it looked all too tempting with how it was casually resting against the glass. I could easily fit the palm of my hand in his, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind in the slightest if I were to reach out right now and... Nope, come on, Lion! What were you thinking? Also, come to think of it, wasn't I the one who initiated most of the hand-holding during the moments we spent together? Maybe he'd be okay with it after all, should I? How will you respond? I don't know. How will I respond? Hold Ren's hand! Before I can talk myself out of it, I reach out and slip my fingers between Ren's palm and the glass of the tank. His skin felt uncharacteristically coarse and rough against my own, but before I can question it, I brush against something cold and metallic instead. Daring a curious peek, I look down and notice a golden ring on one of his fingers. In fact, it appeared to look vaguely similar to the one around his neck, but as soon as I opened my mouth to ask, Ren casually slips his fingers between my own to entwine them. He gives a soft smile, almost as if he knew this was going to happen, before Eleanor's voice pulls me back to the present. Lion, there you are. Why didn't you say anything earlier, Tio? Where'd Pretty Boy run off to? Princess over here said he had to leave earlier. And damn, if it isn't Buttercup. It's Ren, actually. Not again. Before the two even have the chance to butt heads, I carefully step in and interrupt. Something came up at the hospital and Leon had to go. Oh dear, I hope everything's okay. He assured me that everything's fine, so wouldn't stress out too much about it. I watch as Eleanor shuffles on her feet in contemplation before noticing the item still grasped carefully in her hands. That's a relief, but what do you suppose we should do with this ticket then? Shall I ask for a refund? That's fine. That's like loose change to me. I'll make it back in 45 seconds. Still, we shouldn't let it go to waste. Oh, I know. Eleanor's expression shifts from revelation to something more cheeky as she turns to me with a small, knowing grin. She leans close enough to whisper, but doesn't seem all that quiet about it. Here, why don't you give the ticket to your lover boy? Lover boy? You've gotta be joking. Should I tell you all about how our lovely lion has a secret admirer and how he often rents out their books from the... Eleanor! I feel like I'm missing some context here.
Almost hastily, I snatched the ticket from Eleanor's hands and ushers Ren inside the tunnel, away from my gossipy coworker and Teo's smug grin.
Also, I can't get a read on Teo. I legitimately can't get a read on Teo. Earlier on, I thought he's just like, some smug rich dude who's into me. But now, like, over time, he generally just seems like a guy who doesn't care in the slightest. And if that's the case, I'm a lot more fine with him, okay? It's so much better than having a sleaze bag of an ex. Just being for real here. I hardly noticed the time passing with all the fun I'm having, and before I know it, almost 2 hours go by in a blur. I'd initially been so fixated on being a third wheel that I completely forgot about the exciting things people could do at the aquarium. Eleanor seemed all too happy to snap pictures of everything, ranging from Ren and I petting some stingrays, Teo getting splashed by a seal, and all the giant sea creatures that swam around in the overhead tanks. By the time I noticed my feet starting to hurt, we had all made it to the small food court, conveniently placed at the end of the main attractions. Eleanor used this as an opportunity to use the restroom, while Teo wandered off to who knows where, so Ren and I were left to look for a place for us all to sit down and rest. But we didn't get far before the light sounds of footsteps drew closer once more. Lion! Ren! There you are! Sorry for the wait. I ran into Teo earlier while he was talking to one of the tour guides. He's a friend, and I wanted to talk to him. You didn't need to wait for me. Oh? But you said you were lost and needed help with something urgent? Oh, come on, princess. No need to act coy. Surely people say the same thing to you at the library, right? Well, yeah, I suppose they do, but I don't see what that has to do with me waiting for you. Or acting coy, for that matter. You're adorable when you're clueless. Anyway, are either of you hungry yet? It's past noon and I'm worried Teo won't put his pride aside and admit he's hungry. Excuse me? Oh, am I wrong? Could have sworn I heard your stomach growling earlier. Now who's acting coy? First of all, when did they reunite without me noticing? And secondly, was Teo embarrassed? There was no way I was going to let this opportunity pass. Aw, is the big baby hungry? Didn't eat breakfast this morning, did ya? I did. Unlike you, I can afford to eat whenever I want. So it came out blunt and harsh. I knew Teo was only joking. Then why don't I go and get us all something to eat? Any preferences? Allergies I should be made aware of? Aw, what do you care, princess? You plotting to kill me or something? It's only natural to worry about the health of others. I wouldn't want to give you something you're allergic to. Besides, everyone deserves to be cared for. You're weird. What was that? I said wasabi. I'm allergic to wasabi. Wasabi, huh? I see. And what about you? Any preferences? Do you think they have scones? I've been having a really bad craving for it recently. Then in that case, I'll have a... Before I can voice my preference, Teo cuts me off by pulling out his wallet and handing it to my coworker. Eleanor takes it from him without complaint, but bears it with a curious look and a slight tilt of their head. Get whatever. I need to have a word with Dollface over here. I don't get the chance to fully respond before Teo directs me towards the opening of the food court, but I barely get 3 steps away before I feel a gentle tug at my sleeve. Curious, I glance back, only to find Ren, sporting a pout on his soft features. Relax, Buttercup. You'll get it back in one piece. Now that I think about it, it was kinda out of the blue for Teo to be acting like this. I mean, since when did he ever want to talk about something serious? With that revelation in mind, I offer Ren a reassuring look and give his arm a comforting squeeze. I'm sure it'll only be a few minutes. Oh. His eyes flicker between me and Teo a few times before it lands on my hand, still resting on his arm, and he lets out an inaudible sigh. Okay, I'll wait for you here. No, stay where Princess can see you, unless you want to freak her out and think we ditched. Her name is Eleanor, you know. Wow, amazing. Whatever. Come on, let's go.
Without another word, Teo nudges me in the right direction, leaving Ren all alone and confused. I'm pretty sure he's more than just confused. Following closely behind, Teo leads me to a quiet corner near the food court before turning around and boxing me in with his large arms. Why? He casually leans his weight to one side before finally speaking. Hey, so I've got this fun idea. Seriously? I thought you wanted to talk about something urgent. Damn, could you be a little less loud about it? And as a matter of fact, yes, I do. No, you always say I've got an idea and it turns out to be something illegal like trespassing or vandalism. Isn't that the whole point of an idea? He was not serious. We are not about to discuss the logistics behind... Look, it's serious. I need you to help me make Ellie or whatever jealous. She's getting a bit too clingy for my taste, and it might even get Buttercup to ease up on all that juvenile puppy love shit. You seriously don't think he's being too clingy? He's practically glued himself to you the entire day. What? Don't you think that it's kind of a roundabout idea? How would this even benefit? Trust me, this is for my own benefit, not yours. Little Miss Princess over there is treating me like I'm a damn child who needs to be supervised all the time. I can't even tell if she's interested in me or not. Plus, you're not exactly no, never mind. Either my idea works out and this gathering gets more interesting, or she realizes I'm not the type to be babied and back off. Well, I had to jump through hoops and hurdles to understand it. Teo did have a point, but everything about his idea still felt wrong. Regardless if I agree or not, if Eleanor saw us flirting, wouldn't she just assume that you're not interested in her at all? Besides, I'd never betray her like that. You said anything about flirting? Shit, you really are into me, aren't you? Can't say I'm flattered, doll. Excuse me! All I was gonna do was ignore her for a bit. Make them think you're more entertaining or something. I mean, it almost worked with that tour guide from earlier. But if you want to cling to my arm too, by all means, gorgeous, go ahead. You are so insufferable. So, is it a yes or a no? I still don't know what you want me to do exactly. Teo's gaze shifts to something behind me before a light ignites in his eyes as he sends me a sly smirk. Just follow my lead. I barely have any time to process his words before Teo places a hand on the small of my back and pulls me closer to his side. His voice is louder than usual, and instead there I notice Eleanor and Ren slowly coming into view. You see that storeroom over there? Looks like it's unlocked. Wanna go check it out? What are you? Come on. Like you haven't been fooling around with Buttercup. I can practically smell him on you. All of a sudden, I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket. But just as I move to pull it out, Teo gives me a pointed look, and I find myself stalling. How will you respond? Why? Why would I? Why? Honestly, I think this is a terrible idea. I'm gonna wait for Ren to notice us. The moment Ren notices my alarmed expression, he immediately starts to make a beeline towards Teo and I. But just as he gets cut off by a large family passing by, Teo's body covers him from my view. Looks like we gotta hurry this up. Without warning, Teo gently tugs me along by the sleeve of my jacket and shuts the door behind us with an audible click. Wait, why? Why am I here? Why did you bring me here? Darkness envelops the both of us as I strain to make out the sound of Teo's shuffling in order to pinpoint where he is. Ugh, I seriously can't believe he roped me into doing this. This is my side. Don't cross that line. What line? The line I just drew with my fingers. Teo, I can barely see anything in here. Well, almost. Even in the corner of the dark room, I can still make out the faint shape of boxes and shelves, alongside a dirty mop and cleaning supplies that Teo made sure to put me near. Oh man, I hope I wasn't standing in anything. But just as I pull out my phone to use the flashlight and check, bright overhead lights flood the confined space as Ren and Eleanor's concerned faces appear behind the door. Well, that was quick. Ren wastes no time in shoving past Teo to reach for me, only to take his place by my side and pull me into his chest. Because of this, I could hardly see Eleanor or Teo's reaction. Couldn't you talk to them outside? I can practically hear the venom dripping from Ren's tone as he harshly glares at Teo from over his shoulder. Who goes into storerooms just to talk anyway? Talk about clingy. Well, whatever. I got what I wanted. I follow Teo's gaze as he takes in Eleanor's flushed expression before he throws an arm over her shoulder, takes the bag of food from their grasp, and guides her out of the closet. I can hear him mumble something about how adorable she looks with a pouting expression as the door shuts behind them. What? Nothing but silence is left in their wake, and it's then that I notice that Ren is still in the closet with me, peering down with an unreadable expression. Did he hurt you? Do anything strange? No, Teo was just odd. I couldn't help but feel the need to explain myself. He just wanted a way to make Eleanor jealous, so he suggested going into this closet with him. I swear, nothing happened. Do you like him? What? Do you like Teo? Why else would you agree to? Clarifying who he was talking about still didn't lessen the confusion bubbling in my brain, and I could hear Ren's grasp tighten around the shelf behind me as he tries to find the words to say. His breath came out staggered now, and his gaze isn't any less intense. No, I actually... How will you respond? I do like... No, I like you the most, Ren. I couldn't care less about you. I like you the most, Ren. Ren lets out a shaky breath as his composure practically melts in front of me. His cheeks flush a deep red, and he looks down with intense, love-struck eyes before he closes them and rests his forehead against my own. But the action was fast fleeting as his head eventually drops into the crook of my neck instead, and his hands remain against the shelf behind me. Me? You really like me the most. Sorry, I need a second. Ren? He doesn't seem to respond. Instead, he simply stays rooted in place while his breath fans against my shoulder. I can almost hear the wooden shelf creak as his grip tightens before he pulls back with a determined glint in his eyes. As long as Teo didn't do anything to you, then... And if he did? I'd kill him. It was like the room got cold all of a sudden. There's an unsettling look on Ren's face before it quickly morphs into his usual soft expression. Was I just imagining things? Just kidding. Something tells me he wasn't really joking around. Angel, are you okay? Was that really Ren just now? How will you respond? I will encourage this. You know what? Maybe you should have. I can't really stand people who do whatever they please for their own selfish reasons. I glare at the floor as I recount how Teo has been treating you lately, like I was something expendable to throw away once he had his fun. Besides, wasn't that what he essentially did? Once Eleanor came in, he didn't look twice before leaving with her. You'd be okay with that? With Teo dead? Yeah. Really? You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. He stares at me with wide eyes, and it almost makes me regret saying anything in the first place. I don't really know what just came over me, but still... Some decrepit, morbid part of me genuinely did believe that Teo would have been better off at the bottom of Lake Blue Moss. I never really let it get to me, but I've honestly had it up to here with people like him. Those hedonistic individuals who only care about themselves and never the well-beings of those around them. Perhaps it was why I moved away from the city in the first place, to escape people like Teo. In some messed up way, at least it brought me closer to someone as understanding and considerate as Ren. Speaking of, I dare a glance towards my pink-haired companion, only to find him staring back at me with a soft smile. He leans in closer this time, as if he wanted to whisper something for only me to hear. Well, if I ever need to hide a body, I'll know who to call now. No way you're getting me involved with your crimes! No? I think it's a genius idea. They'd never suspect the cute librarian. Now that the mood has lightened, I give Ren a playful shove and roll my eyes. Well, now that that's all sorted, I think we should leave this dingy storage closet by now, don't you? I mean, we've been in here for a while. And Nori has our food. Who's Nori? Who is Nori? Oh, Eleanor! Got it. I suppose we should leave, but I guess there's something sort of comforting about this closet. Maybe it's just you. Huh? Being this close to you. I like it. Where was this coming from? Suddenly I can see Ren's arms shift from beside me and move towards my face instead. His fingertips hover close to my cheek, and for a brief moment, I almost find myself wanting to lean into his touch to feel his warmth. but he pulls away at the very last second and instead rests his hands by his side once more. Ren?
I don't want to be a hypocrite.
He sends me yet another soft smile before stepping back and awkwardly tugging on the end of his sleeve. A hypocrite? What do you mean by that? Confused, I press him for answers. What do you mean?
I came in here thinking Tio was putting moves on you to get a rise out of me. If I'm being honest, part of me wants to think that he's still outside, waiting for us to leave. I kind of... I want to.
He covers his mouth with his hands as he awkwardly shifts his weight from one foot to the other. Ren almost looks like he's weighing his options, and I can't tell if it's a winning or losing battle in his mind. All I can do is offer him a reassuring look to let him know he can speak more freely with me. I mean, we did just have a heart-to-heart about the appropriateness of murder a few minutes ago.
I kinda want to make him jealous too.
Oh?
I mean, I'm supposed to be paired up with you today, not him. He has no business trying to take you from me. Not like he could, anyway.
His words remind me of the day at the pier, when that pushy cashier kept trying to flirt with Ren. I won't lie and say that I hadn't been affected by it. It's hard not to be when being with Ren had been the most exciting thing as of late, but I still had so many things I needed to discuss with him. What better place to start than here? About that, remember our time at the boardwalk the other day?
Our date by the pier?
Yeah, and how that cashier tried to... Well, I'm not really sure what she was trying, but she seemed real cozy with you.
Cozy? Did it come across that way? I thought I made my intentions with her clear.
The confusion must have been written all over my face as Ren tries to take it upon himself to elaborate further.
I may have threatened to push her down the staircase.
That's horrifying, but like, good on you, Ren. Like, go right ahead. Don't actually threaten people, please.
I wouldn't really do it, though.
Well, you really tried to threaten her?
Yeah, but only because she tried to take me away from you. I never want to make you upset or leave your side for that matter. We were having fun together and she had to come along and ruin it. Besides, whatever she had to show me downstairs probably wouldn't have been that interesting anyway.
I let out a deep sigh and weigh Ren's words.
Was he really telling me the truth? I swear, I'm not interested in her, Angel. In fact, I'm not really interested in anyone who isn't you. I guess I haven't really been forward enough with you, huh? In that case...
I watch as Ren take a tentative step towards me and reaches an arm out, but before I can feel the cool touch of his hand on my cheek, he seems to hesitate. But when I take my own step closer and lean my head into his hand, Ren's demeanor seems to melt instantly. He sends me a soft smile before fully committing to cupping my cheek.
Believe me when I say, my only interest is in you, Lion. No one could possibly sway you from me. I'm yours completely. All of me, and more.
Ren's gaze is almost intense as he peers down at me. Sincerity manifests on his face and in his words, and I find myself slowly believing it.
You don't need to feel the same way right now, but so long as you believe me, that's all I ask, and...
His gaze drops to his feet, and the hand that was once caressing my face now moves to cover his mouth instead. Perhaps it was a trick of the eye, but I could have sworn I saw Ren gently inhale.
Maybe don't look at anyone else who isn't me too.
What was that?
Nothing, just wondering if Mr. Wasabi Hair is still outside this door.
Wasabi Hair? Why don't you go check then, Buttercup? I'll wait here.
No, I like being here with you instead.
Ren takes another step closer. We're practically chest to chest at this point, until I could feel the warmth radiate from his body and bring me comfort.
No one compares to you. I could bask in your company for as long as you let me. I'd never tire of you.
Oh.
Was that too much? I figured I'd be more honest and open with you to avoid any more misunderstandings, but I can dial it back. Or not do it at all if you prefer.
I don't mind it, Ren. I wasn't expecting it, I guess. Normally, you're more reserved. Almost like
Haruko, right? What a coincidence, huh?
I suppose. He's my favorite character for a reason, you know?
And is it winning me any points?
We'll see.
I can feel Ren's breath ghost against the shell of my ear as he lets out a puff of laughter. Can't believe I'm getting jealous over an anime character.
Hey, unlike Haruko, you're real. I can touch you.
Ren's face seems to immediately flush at that. Besides, imagine how Tio must be feeling right now. We've been in here for how long? You know, I didn't think you'd be on board with making him jealous.
Really?
Yeah, but if you're still up for it.
There's a mischievous glint in Ren's eyes, making him look younger and more youthful than he normally appears. What harm could a little prank do? I did want to get back at Tio for making me go through all this in the first place, and admittedly, I was enjoying my time with Ren in the closet. I wouldn't have had this much needed conversation otherwise, nor would I have gotten any clarity if I kept pondering over it endlessly. With a lopsided smile of my own, I come to a decision. How will you respond? Oh, this is going up on Patreon, so like, hey, you ain't gotta see this right now. But yeah, we're just gonna skip ahead. Ah, God, we're finally out of there. As soon as Ren and I exit the storeroom, the first thing I notice is that Tio, Eleanor, and our food were nowhere in sight. Well, I guess the resident arsonist really got what he wanted after all. And for some reason, Ren seems just as bummed out about this situation too.
They really just left?
I guess so, which kinda sucks because Tio was my ride home.
Oh, I can drop you off if you want. Or we could go to my place. It's not far and we still have some time to kill.
All of a sudden, the chilling thought of a potential stalker lurking about returns, and I willed the unsettling feelings in my stomach to calm down. Perhaps going home wouldn't be the best idea right now, especially if someone might be there waiting for me. Ren's innocent offer lingers in my mind, and I find myself feeling more and more inclined to take him up on it as the seconds pass. I mean, I definitely would feel much better if I had someone else around in the off chance that something were to happen. Plus, Ren did once offer to let me stay at his place if something ever went wrong. And some part of me felt almost safe in his presence. Still, I didn't want to concern him with my troubles, let alone potentially put his well-being at risk. I also didn't want anything to happen to Eleanor by revealing too much to Ren, so maybe it would be best to keep quiet about my problem and accept his offer. And if I change my mind, I'm sure Ren will be kind enough to bring me home. So, with a forced smile, I peer up at Ren with a determined look to give him my answer. Sounds good to me. The walk to the parking lot was slow and uneventful, but I didn't seem to mind. I was having fun with Ren as we playfully nudged each other along the sidewalk, and the banter we shared helped brighten the mood. Eventually, though, things started to wind down, and I found myself trying to fill the silence. So, Tio and Eleanor, huh? Somehow the conversation keeps falling back to the pair, and I just couldn't understand why. It wasn't like I was actively trying to think about them, so maybe I just need to rack my brain around it for the thought to leave my mind. A sideward glance in Ren's direction shows that he genuinely was considering my question, if the pursed lip and head tilt were anything to go by, and I couldn't help but chuckle. It sure is a weird combo now that I think about it, but, well, if it works. That's true, I suppose. It's hard to imagine Nori with someone like Tio. Do you think it's impossible, being with someone who's not your type? I guess it depends on the person. I see. What about you, Ren? Think you could be with someone who might not be your type? No, absolutely not. His response is immediate, and it has me turning my head in my pink-haired companion's direction. I mean, you are my type. Why would I want to be with someone who isn't you? Oh, but this isn't about me, right? You asked about Eleanor and Tio? Yeah. Well, do you think they should be a couple? I choose to ignore the way Ren evades my initial question, but I won't lie. His own musings does leave me pondering. Did I think my friend and co-worker would be a good couple? Hypothetically, of course, I was well aware of the fact that the Theodore Alvarado would never settle down with anyone. But still, if anyone would be able to get Tio to change his ways, I'm sure Eleanor could do it. She just has a certain charm about her that makes everyone want to be a better person. I had no doubt that even people like Tio wouldn't be immune to it. How will you respond? They will be cute together. No, they're not good for each other. Not sure, to be honest. Not my place to decide. It's not my place to decide. It's their life. Why would I want to have any part in this?
You're right. We shouldn't meddle in other people's affairs.
I didn't know you were a stickler for the rules.
Should I try acting more like Tio then?
Please don't. One of him is more than enough.
And besides, I like you the way you are. Soon enough, our conversation comes to a halt when a sleek, black sports bike comes into view.
So Ren brought his bike again, huh? Part of me still expected someone like him to just walk everywhere, if I'm being honest.
If I had known I'd be bringing you home, I would have brought my car instead. But I, recently loaned it to a friend, actually.
Really?
Yeah, he's out of town, though. I doubt I'll be getting it back anytime soon. Anyway,
Ren retrieves a spare helmet from the side of his motorbike and turns to me once more. All too familiar with this routine, I let him slip the helmet on and secure it tightly. I still wasn't used to riding his bike, but I put the fear aside for the prospect of more free food and a warm home. Somehow we managed to make it back to Ren's apartment complex in record time. I guess he really wasn't lying when he said it wasn't that far. And unlike Tio, Ren lawfully parks his bike in the designated area before guiding me towards the elevator with a spring in his step. Techie music plays as we slowly ascend to the upper levels, though Ren only makes it even more awkward by staring at the back of my head the entire time. I can practically feel his eyes on me even as I try to ignore them, so I offer him a false grin while we both wait for the elevator doors to open. Once they do, I let out a sigh of relief. The same gaudy interior greets us, and I still find myself trying to process how Ren could afford such a lavish place. Too lost in thought, I aimlessly follow behind my pink-haired companion as he leads me towards his door, before bumping into his backside when he abruptly stops in his tracks. Concerned at his odd and sudden reaction, I glance up only to find him staring intently at the floor. Following Ren's gaze, I notice the lights coming from beneath the cracks of one of the doors, and weirdly enough, the faintest hint of black smoke seems to be emerging from there as well. Smoke? Did they burn their food or something? Confused, I look to Ren to see if he has any better ideas. Is there something wrong?
Huh? Oh, no, I didn't realize someone had moved in. I thought I was the only one who lived on this floor.
Not a fan of sharing, are we?
Not particularly. Still, I guess everything should be fine as long as I don't... Never mind.
Before I can question it, Ren continues walking until we arrive at our destination. Watching him dig through his pockets for his keycard only reminds me to check my phone, but when I reach for it, I notice that my own pockets are empty. A wave of realization hits me as the panic slowly starts to creep in. Oh, shoot!
Huh?
In my flustered state, I barely notice Ren turning to me with a curious look on his face. I think I left my phone back at the aquarium.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I placed it on the shelf when we... Ren seems to blush at that.
Hey, don't worry. I'll go back and get it. The aquarium should be open anyway.
I'm so sorry about this. Ren unlocks the door and gestures for me to go inside.
Don't worry about it, Lion. Here, make yourself at home. I'll be back before you know it.
Ren doesn't give me a chance to say goodbye before he's speeding off towards the direction of the elevator, leaving me to my own devices. I awkwardly step inside his apartment and take everything in. I don't know how to feel about the glitchy transitions. Everything looks the same as the last time I was here, down to the cold marble flooring and gaudy furniture scattered about the place. And although I did notice it last time, the mirror in his entryway looked very similar to mine. The only difference was that his was hung up correctly. Cute. At least I know what mine will look like once I put in the effort to fix it, but until then, it's going to stay crookedly placed on my wall and forever haunt me. Saving that mental note for later, I recall my steps towards Ren's spacious lounge and take everything in. Yep, still the same grandiose furniture, sterile smell, and... Wait a second. Oh? Looking closer, it's then when I notice a large desk pressed against one of the corners in the room, tucked and hidden away from view. It didn't look brand new though. I don't recall looking at that spot the last time I was here either. The desk could have been here since the beginning for all I know.
I can't help but feel the twang of curiosity that hits me as I draw closer towards it, and with the desk now close enough to see, I can easily make out the shape of some kind of art station, as well as Ren's laptop still open to the side. Papers were scattered all over the rest of the table, and another tentative step closer brings its contents into view. Were they rough drafts for a webcomic? I had an inkling Ren would be into them, given his interest in AOG, but I had no idea he created a few of his own. One book in particular, however, piques my interest with its unique cover, so it might have just been the book lover in me. It was thick and worn out, yet it looked like it was well taken care of. I noticed some kind of smudge marks, possibly red paint, stained the front of the cover, as well as some of the circular indented notch right in the center. Does something go in here? The contraption is foreign to me, and whatever fits inside it must have been how you unlock it. But as I turned the book in my hand, I noticed that the latch was already detached, and a few loose pages spill out onto the desk. Ah! With a panicked cry, I quickly scooped the papers back up and opened the book to stuff them back inside. But as I do, something else catches my eye. Weren't these sketches from Always With You? I could easily make out the male lead's hairstyle anywhere. After all, it was similar to Ren's, or rather Haruko's, yet this one had a contrasting shade of black instead of pink. Maybe another character then? Strange. I don't remember seeing any similar black-haired characters in the webcomic. Still, the likeness of the art style was insane, and Always With You was the only webcomic published by an anonymous author. Their debut into the online industry was a huge success because of it. So, fan art? It was oddly cute to think Ren might have made his own self-insert character, though if I were any better at art, I probably would have done the same. Curiosity once again gets the better of me. Or was it my hyperfixations, and I was half tempted to peek through the rest of the book to learn more? Should I? How will you respond? Oh my god, I want to look at the drawings. I couldn't resist the urge to flip through the pages, and when I do, my suspicions are confirmed. There, right in front of my eyes, were the all too familiar characters from Always With You, yet something about them felt almost uncanny. They didn't look exactly like the actual characters from the webcomic, though I could sense a certain familiarity from them. And upon closer inspection, most of the drawings were of the main character and their love interest doing various lovey-dovey things together, so other drawings were depicted as rather ominous and gloomy. Which was ironic considering that the male lead was usually referred to as gloomy by the narrator. He was often withdrawn and greatly preferred to lurk in the shadows instead of interacting with others, so the name really fit. But still, seeing my beloved gloomy in some of these drawings, surrounded by hundreds of creepy eyes, harsh scribbles, and more of that deep red ink, it honestly makes me feel bad for him. Why was he often being drawn in a dark room with nothing in it, almost like an endless void with no exit in sight? Figuring I've seen enough, or perhaps I just didn't want to see one of my comfort characters so alone, I tear my eyes away from the pages and close the book. When I do, I make sure to shut the latch properly and place it back on the table, but as I do so, I accidentally knock over one of the ink bottles, which stains the desk a deep shade of black. Damn it! I frantically skitter about to look for some paper towels and eventually settle on some toilet paper from Ren's bathroom. By some miracle, it easily lifts the mark from the desk, though it only seems to transfer onto my skin instead. Ugh, great. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse. It takes a solid minute or two of scrubbing until I'm satisfied, and once I'm sure no stains are left on the table, I haphazardly throw the toilet paper into the trash can and wash my hands in the kitchen sink. That alone takes another 5 minutes of scrubbing and rinsing, but somehow managed to lift all the ink from my skin and wash it down the drain. After this, I definitely learned my lesson not to snoop ever again. With an embarrassing sigh, I plopped myself onto the couch and let out a small groan. A small part of me knew Ren wouldn't get upset over something so small, but still. I didn't want him to know that I was snooping through his things, much less trying to learn about his personal hobbies and interests. The queasy feeling in the pit of my stomach only seems to worsen at that, and I contemplate running away from such a confronting scene and locking myself at home for the rest of my life. Forgetting my phone, I could always buy a new one. I'm sure I still had a spare one still lying around in a box collecting dust somewhere. Sure, the screen was cracked, but it'll get the job done. Still, I couldn't help but feel like I was making a mountain out of a molehill, and there was the looming threat of a potential stalker waiting for me to come home. Maybe it was best if I stayed here after all. With that thought in mind, I settled further into Ren's plush couch and anxiously await his return. I can hear the faint ticking of a clock from somewhere in this endless maze of an apartment, alongside the occasional humming of the central heater he turned on before he left. So he finally figured out how it worked? Aside from that, the silence is almost deafening, and I have half a mind to reach for the remote and turn on the television. Surely it wouldn't hurt, right? I mean, Ren did say I could make myself at home. You know, potential snooping aside. Perhaps it was to get rid of that guilty feeling for me in my stomach, but I quickly find myself shaking my head to dismiss those thoughts, reaching for the remote on the table. Flicking through the channels, I land on one in particular, and although the signal was weak, I could discern the picture of some news reporter in a blazer that looked far too flimsy to keep her warm. She's droning on and on about the local happenings in Cortland Bay before a familiar backdrop comes on screen and captures my full attention. Oh? The entrance to the aquarium appears on the television as ambulance lights flash and sirens go off in the background. There's a somber expression on the reporter's face as she communicates with her counterpart, who is currently at the location. Victim's body has been found mauled and ripped apart in front of the shark tanks. Authorities have confirmed that it is the body of blank Christian Doe's son and sole heir to the corporate giant Tech Marketing. Also believe that was a self-inflicted incident. Here on the scene with us, we have the mayor's chairman and the mother of the victim, Kaori Alva, to talk about... Wait, Alva! Wait! Isn't that Tio? That's Tio's mom. Tio died?! Huh! The TV turns to static, and I quickly reach for the remote to find another channel. Another news show pops up, this time showing a grainy black and white recording of CCTV footage taken from the aquarium. And although it's hard to make out, the footage depicts a person pacing around on the wooden decks until the upper half of their body is just out of frame. The rest of their body was still in view, though, being illuminated by their phone screens as they fiddled with it. Then all of a sudden, the person immediately drops it, almost as if it was too hot to touch, and takes a step back. They must have lost their footing or something, as they end up tumbling into the tank and submerging themselves underwater. The footage cuts out shortly after, seemingly too inappropriate to air on live television, as noted by the reporter. I let out a breath I hadn't known I'd been holding, and let reality sink in. I was just at that aquarium. I looked at those sharks with everyone just hours prior. Everything felt too surreal in that moment, and I suddenly wish I had my phone to text Eleanor and Theo to see if they saw the news. With my heartbeat still hammering loudly in my chest, I end up unconsciously turning the television off to avoid hearing more heavy topics. Seeing all of this recent talk of gore and murder on TV, it makes me feel... Oh, God. Why would I enjoy seeing it? I feel sick! Think about all this gory violence and death. Makes me feel uneasy. In fact, it was one of the reasons why I left the city in the first place. Prior to moving to Cortland Bay, I had been surrounded by petty crimes, selfish a-holes, and people calling themselves my friends. And even the stench of death. Moving here had been a good decision at the start, but now, I'm not so sure. Everyone would always say that nothing bad ever happens in the Bay, but after recent events, it was slowly becoming untrue. But I suppose it wasn't all bad. I've supportive friends now, an amazing boss and coworker, and a timid library patron who goes to great lengths to keep me safe. Man, I guess I never truly appreciated Ren's thoughtfulness until this moment. He's done so much for me these past few days, and not once has he asked for anything in return. And as if manifesting him with my thoughts, I hear a telltale sound of the front door unlocking before Ren shuffles inside and flicks on all the lights. In one of his hands is my beloved phone, alongside a bag of delicious-smelling takeout and an angelfish plushie peeking out from another. And almost like a puppy, Ren immediately makes his way over to me, still perched on the couch, before depositing the toy in my hands. Lion? Were you sitting in here without any lights? Sorry, should have turned them on before I left. But I brought some food with me. I figured you might be hungry. I don't really have much food in the pantry right now. Also, well...
Ren looks as though he has something deeply serious he wants to say, and I had some kind of inclination as to what it might be.
Something happened at the aquarium, Lion. You might want to... Actually, maybe we should move this conversation to the kitchen.
I know, Ren.
You do? About...
Yeah, saw it on the news. So it's true then. Someone really did die?
I didn't really stick around to find out once the first cop car pulled up, but... I don't know. Something doesn't add up.
What do you mean? Ren looks conflicted about what he wants to say.
I passed by the shark tank when I went to retrieve your phone and I... Well, I didn't exactly stop to look, but I didn't see any dead bodies in there. Look, I know we said some incriminating things today, but I swear, it wasn't serious, and Angel, I would never, I
could tell that Ren was taking this hard with how he wouldn't meet my gaze, and his shoulders seemed to shake.
I wasn't the one who killed them.
That's okay, I believe you.
You do?
It was like a weight was taken off his shoulders, and without thinking, I find myself stepping closer to bring Ren into a comforting hug.
I know you, Ren. You'd never hurt a fly. And I saw what happened on TV. They fell into that tank. They're reported to say it was a self-inflicted incident. Man, you really are an angel.
I can feel his hands clench around the back of my shirt before he pulls away with a forlorn expression. He attempts to put on a smile for my sake, so I could see right through it.
Here, why don't we eat something to get our minds off of this? Are you feeling up for it? I know this might be a lot for you to stomach right now.
Yeah, some food might be nice.
Great, let me get some plates so we can eat then.
As Ren lifts himself from the back of the sofa, he makes sure to hand my cell phone back to me as well before heading off towards the kitchen. Now reunited with my beloved phone once more, I unlock it and check for any notifications. One update in particular lets me know that the security camera I ordered had been successfully delivered, and that alone makes me feel safe enough to return to my apartment. Should I change my mind about staying here? With a satisfied hum, I quickly pocket my phone, lest I lose it again, and follow Ren into the kitchen. I watch as he turns on all the lights in there, as well, before he places the takeout on the countertop, and stops to sniff the air. Uh-oh.
What's that smell?
Oh man, I almost forgot about the ink I hastily threw away in the trash. In retrospect, I probably should have flushed it down the toilet or something instead. Oh, about that, How will you respond?
I'm gonna be honest. I figured it'd be best if I simply come clean.
After all, Ren
didn't deserve to be lied to, much less have a guest he trusted snoop through his belongings while he was away.
Man, if only I could say the same thing about my stalker. Before I can dwell on it any further, Ren's worried look pulls me away from my thoughts and back to the present. Well, here goes nothing.
I accidentally spilled some of your ink earlier.
You... what? Food now long forgotten, Ren rounds the corner within seconds and peers down at me with soft eyes.
Are you okay? It didn't stain you, did it? Let me see.
You're still concerned about me? I watch as Ren reveal more of his hands from within the sleeves of his cardigan to hold and inspect my own. His blue eyes are full of concern, as though I feel the rough pads of his thumbs caress my skin. Once again, I'm reminded of the ring on his finger, and I can't help but ask. That ring must be special to you, huh?
My ring?
Ren follows my gaze to his hand, before awkwardly pulling away and scratching at his jaw.
Yeah, it's a ring I made when I was younger. I'm surprised you noticed it. This ring means a lot to me. I don't know what I'd do if I lost it.
It's very pretty. What about the one around your neck?
That's,
Ren clams up for a moment and I meekly reach out to touch it, and he stares down at me with wide, cautious eyes. His own fingers wrap around my wrist, though he makes no effort to remove my hand from his necklace. In fact, he only seems to hold them in place as he peers at me. Feigning confidence, I run my fingers across the cold metal of his ring and take in all the small details. Much like the ring on Ren's fingers, the one around his neck also had a handmade feel to it. The faint scratches and chips were anything to go by, though the craftsmanship was no less impressive. There also seems to be some kind of inscription inside the ring,
but it was difficult for me to read due to the glare coming from the kitchen light. Part of me wants to pull it closer to get a better view, so I doubt it'd be a good idea to yank Ren down by his necklace, especially considering how he was already hunching over enough as is. Still, I couldn't help stop my budding curiosity from putting one of my fingers inside the ring to see if it would fit. And almost immediately, Ren stumbles forward as his fingers gently squeeze my wrist. Do you want to try it on? Before Ren could speak, a loud booming sound erupts from outside the apartment and startles the both of us. Man, was it seriously about to start raining again? You're joking. With a sigh, I abruptly pull away and glance out of the large ceiling-to-floor windows. Dark clouds were rolling in from the distance, though there weren't any telltale signs of rain yet. Though the ominous black smoke was new, I didn't know the condensation got this bad. We weren't even that high up for fog to appear. Was this some kind of sign? Still, it wouldn't do to be stuck waiting out yet another storm again, so I glance in Ren's direction and offer a sympathetic smile. Maybe I should head home before it starts raining. How will you respond? Go home, stay the night? Why don't I stay the night? Why don't I stay the night? I mean, like, we could chill at Ren's place. We could do that. It's probably best for me to just wait out the storm somewhere safe. If Ren was willing, I wouldn't mind spending the night here. Actually, would it be okay if I crashed at your place tonight? His gaze was still on the black smoke outside the window, and it took a gentle nudge and the mention of his name to get Ren's attention once more. Why is that? I haven't done any... I mean, yeah, of course, it's no problem. I'll go get your stuff set up right now. Here, go ahead and start eating while I go prepare your room. Thanks, Ren. It's great that I can rely on you for anything. I mean, yeah, of course, you can rely on me to keep you safe. His cheeks immediately flushed at my words, but I could tell that something was still troubling him. So before I get the chance to ask, he's already leaving the kitchen and meandering down the hallway. But just as Ren passes by the couch, I notice how his gaze shifts to his little odd station, hidden in the corner of the lounge room. He casts a curious glance in my direction before taking a step towards it. Was that where you spilled the ink? Sorry, I didn't mean to. And it wasn't like I was going through your stuff. I only looked at the table, I promise. And the book. I see. So that explains why it's... With an unreadable expression, Ren switches from looking impassive to determined in a matter of seconds. He reaches for something on the table, so it was hard to see what it was from where I was sitting in the kitchen. You keep on eating. I'll join you shortly. And with that, he disappears into the darkness of his apartment. Deciding there's no use in overthinking his eccentric reactions, or dwelling over the fact that I got caught red-handed for being nosy, I pick up a fork and begin to dig into my food. The taste of something both sweet and savory floods my taste buds, and I let out a pleased hum. Man, was takeout always this good? It takes only 3 modest bites before I practically scarfed down the meal. The flavor was immaculate, and I made a mental note to ask Ren what exactly he ordered the moment he returns. But now that I think about it, it's been a while since he left, and Ren still hasn't come back yet. It would surely been more than 20 minutes by now, and his food was starting to grow cold. Was he really mad after all? Maybe he needed help. Whether or not it was the guilt still ebbing and flowing inside of me, I put my food aside and tried to relocate the eccentric guy in his stupidly large apartment. But as I tiptoe down the hallways, the very same black smoke from earlier rolls out from underneath one of the doors, making my mind grow fuzzy and my legs feel like jelly. What the? Confused and slightly dazed, I leaned against the wall for support and weakly call out Ren's name. What was happening to me? A lurching feeling settles within the pit of my stomach, and just before I topple over, strong, scarred arms reach out to catch me. What? Who? Error? Error! What? I don't know what that says! What? There we go. Don't worry, Lion. I won't let you get my bad ending. So don't hide from me. Why are you hiding from me? I won't hurt you. So don't be scared. Don't you realize that we're meant to be together? I love you. I love you so much.
What? Why? Why?
Okay, screw you, Ren. I'm going home. Yeah, it's probably best for me to go home before that storm gets any worse. I still had to go back to work tomorrow anyway. Thanks for today, but I should probably start heading back now. Oh, it's really no problem. Here, why don't I put your food in another bag and drop you off? Are you sure? Don't want to be a bother. You'd never be a bother to me. Tapping the table, Ren pushes himself up and sets off to find something to put my takeout in. What did I do to deserve someone as kind as Ren? With a smile of my own, I get up from my stool and slowly make my way towards the entrance once more, but not before throwing Ren one final compliment. It's great that I can rely on you for anything. I mean, of course. The ride back to my place was nothing short of ominous. The looming clouds on the horizon made the scenery seem dark and eerie, but thankfully, Ren and his pastel-colored hair were there to brighten things up. He even offered to walk me to my door, and what greeted the both of us was a single package on top of my doormat. Panic flashes through me at the thought of it being another gift from my supposed stalker, but then I remembered the purchase I made this morning and the notification I received on my phone. That must be my security cameras. Definitely pick it up. I put it under an arm as I fish for my keys in one of my pockets. I can sense Ren's eyes on me, or rather, my package. But even as I glance in his direction, I can tell that he's trying to hold himself back from asking. Surely there wouldn't be any harm in telling him. I bought a security system this morning because, how shady this neighborhood is. I figure it'd be a good idea to be safer than sorry. That creep came back, didn't they? Without thinking, I dropped my keys and slapped a hand over Ren's mouth before cautiously looking over my shoulder. What was I doing? I was getting worked up and acting paranoid again. With an embarrassed look, I turned back to apologize to Ren, only to find his cheeks a deep red and a hand wrapped around my wrist. When did he... Quickly withdrawing my hand, I squeak out an apology before picking up my keys and turning back to my door. I still didn't want to get Ren involved with my problems, and I honestly didn't want to risk being alone tonight either. Too lost in my own world, I barely noticed Ren coming closer, nor his hand covering my keys to steady my fidgeting. Do you want some help? He must have seen my look of confusion on my face since he continues talking. Setting up your cameras, I mean, a self-taught programmer, remember? I'm sure I can figure it all out, plus it'd save you the time to call someone to install them. He did have a point, and I'd honestly feel safer if I wasn't alone tonight. Still, I've been spending so much time with Ren lately, and I didn't want him to get fed up with me and my presence. Would it be a good idea? How will you respond? Oh, let him stay the night? Yes, please! Maybe it would be a good idea after all. Would you mind? I probably look pathetic with how I barely make any eye contact, instead choosing to stare at my door rather than Ren, but he doesn't seem to mind. Perhaps he simply chooses not to comment on it. I'd be happy to, Angel. With a smile, I opened the door and let Ren inside. You know, I think we have the same mirror. Oh? Putting the small talk aside for a moment, I usher the pink-haired person into my living room and situate ourselves on the couch. Ren wastes no time in opening my package, placing all the bits and pieces on the table and setting off to work. Though every so often he'd sneak a peek in my direction whenever he thinks I'm not looking. Did he want something? Raising a brow, I send him a silent question. I don't mean to pry into your personal life, but... You know you're always welcome to stay in my apartment. Ren, I've seen where you live. I doubt I could afford the rent. You could stay for free. I don't mind at all. Well, the last time I tried, I died! And for some reason, there was a jump scare with you in it. That barely made any sense. And I'm more than capable of covering your cost. I'd make a really good roommate, too. I always clean up after myself, and I wouldn't mind doing the same for you as well. Only if you'd be fine with it, though. And I can cook as well. Laundry, cleaning, repairing things around the house, yard work. I could do it all for you, really. Wait, you have a yard? Man, they can really fit a lot in those upscale apartments, huh? Oh, well, no, I don't. But I used to do the gardening and use the lawnmower a lot when I was younger. I'm sure I can figure it all out again. Not that I need to, though. Like you said, no yard. No offense, Ren, but I can't imagine someone like you mowing grass. Was that your first job as a teen? Before that, actually. Huh? Before? You mean as a kid? Maybe a bit younger. Younger? I mean, just kidding. Yeah, it was my first job as a teenager. Anyway, the point is, I'd be happy to let you stay in my place. Oh? Well, I really appreciate the offer, Ren, but really gotta tough this out on my own. Oh, if you say so. He goes quiet after that. Picking up the manual, Ren busies himself with learning how to connect the cameras to my Wi-Fi before tossing it aside and doing it his own way. Deciding not to get in the way, I curl up on the couch with my food and simply observe him. I won't lie, watching Ren's hands deftly connect cables and unscrew plates was kind of attractive, but I wasn't about to say anything. And soon enough, the events of the evening slowly draw out as I start to feel the telltale signs of weariness take hold of me. I try my best to muffle my yawn before I glance up at the clock on the wall to read the time. Just past midnight. Damn, hadn't realized we'd been at this for so long. Tired? Ren's voice startles me, and I glance back to see that he had already put down the cameras and was reclining in his seat to fully look at me. Kinda. It's been a long day. You can head to bed if you want. I'll set this all up and lock up once I'm done. You're still going home after all this? You want me to stay? Did I? Strange. Perhaps it was because we've been spending so much time together that I'd somehow grown fond of Ren's presence. It was comforting to have him near, though I wasn't about to tell him that, so with an affirmative nod, I make the decision. Yeah, I do. Oh. Ren's grin practically reaches his ears as he laughs to himself. Okay, sure. No problem. I can't help but playfully roll my eyes at his enthusiasm. Well then, why don't I get some pillows and blankets and we can camp out here for the night? Just like a sleepover? Sure. His toothy grin reminds me of my childhood days, back when I begged all the adults to let some of my friends from school stay the night. With all of us wrapped up in patterned blankets, I'd cuddle up on the couch with everyone until we'd all fall asleep. But it wasn't Leon who came to mind. It was someone else? The face was blurry, but I could make out tufts of black hair from within the blanket surrounding us, and the same toothy grin Ren was giving me. But when I focused my attention back to him, I noticed that the smile is gone, and he's instead looking at me with a confused look on his face. Must have been spacing out again. Sorry. I'll go get those pillows now. Let me know if you need any help. Ren's response gets drowned out as I flee into the hallway. It took a while, but Ren managed to get this camera set up and hook it all up to an app on my phone, all while I made myself comfortable on the couch. He explained how to use it, but if I were being honest, I started to nod off once he started geeking out about all the different kinds of alarm buttons. Before I know it, my head falls onto his shoulder with a small thump, and I feel Ren's body shake as he lets out a faint laugh. Something moves from the chair next to him, before a warm duvet is wrapped around my shoulders. I could feel Ren pull me to his side before we both fall backwards onto the couch. His chest softens the blow, and with one of his hands gently threading through my hair, I slowly start to drift off. Nostalgia greets me once more, and before my consciousness fades away, I try to chase after the foggy memory that had been plaguing my brain as of late. Those 3 kids laughing and playing together near a lake. Who were they? And who was the one that stayed the night by my side even after everyone else went home? Almost desperately, I tried to recall their face or any of their defining features. Really, at this point, I'd sing anything. It's all for naught when I feel Ren's lips fall to the crown of my head to place a chaste kiss. Rest well, Lion. With his comforting voice in my mind, I slowly start to slip away. Anyway, that was day 4 of 14 Days Review. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this game for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. And I have to say, while the dates with Ren are really cute, I was hoping that now that we're 4 days in the supposed 14 days this game takes place in, that we would have been able to actually progress the plot in a meaningful way. Like, yes, The scene where it's revealed that Teo potentially died at the end of the day was kind of cool and was really shocking. I was hoping we would get more answers or like an escalation of some of the horror that could potentially happen beyond the cheap jump scare we got at the end of the dead end, but I might not be giving this game a fair chance considering I'm still on the safe route and like we are still very early on in the game, but hopefully the future chapters will be better. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day, and as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.